Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Micah just checking in for another video log. This is actually going to be a series on, if you watched my last video on the post-contest feels, just my follow-up from finishing contest prep and now transitioning into a building phase or off-season. I don't really like to call it an off-season just because, I'm not stopping what I'm doing. Basically, I'm going to be, covering different topics throughout the course of this video series, just to how to transition off a contest prep. And I think this is one of the, the hardest things for most people, because when you go into a contest prep, you're so focused, you're so driven, you have a goal in mind to step on stage, whether it be for one show throughout the course of the year or multiple shows back to back throughout the course of a season. And so it's really easy to stay focused because you have certain checkpoints, you have deadlines, you have a plan throughout the course of that prep. And when you get off a prep, it's totally different. It's a different atmosphere because you have no deadline. You have no real check-in points. Measuring progress may look a little differently, and it's almost like a free-for-all. You're almost left to not. You're almost left to. You're not sure what to do next, and I'd like to just cover what I'm going to be doing in this course of next year and a half of how I'm going to go into a building phase and be able to build up my calorie count, build up my weak points, with my physique, and really take the time to do it right. And it's taken me quite a while to, a couple seasons to figure out how to approach it successfully for me personally, and how to not lose control or lose sight of the overall picture of how to make progression, not just in a prep, but even in a building phase. And so this is just like an intro. I'm going to start doing some actual topics for each of these video series, and hopefully it's helpful for most people that are kind of struggling to get out of a contest prep. And so without further ado, this is some of the topics that I'll be covering. Number one is going to be just the emotional, the psychological, even depression, post-show depression, psychological, emotional, all those different things, because leading up into a prep, there's a lot of stress on the body, a lot of stress on the mind. There's other outside influences that are just impacting the way that you're continuing the process throughout the prep. And once that sense of relief is gone, that you've stepped off stage, you've got your placing, and you're done, it's like, what am I supposed to do next? And everything just kind of goes all out. And so that emotional state is, you might be in a very fragile state right after that show is done. And that's where a lot of people will fall into trouble, as far as binging, continually eating, just not knowing that you're picking up food and you're eating it. You don't know how to be social in a setting because you were so focused on your prep, your training, your nutrition. Everything was measured out to a T. You knew exactly what your routine was. So it kind of messes with your mind on what you're supposed to do. So out of that chaos, that driven focus throughout a contest prep is gone now. And so I want to definitely talk about that and how to kind of cope with that and kind of move on, as far as some things that you can do. The next topic is going to be about nutrition. Obviously, this ties into a big role with continual progress. We all know that nutrition plays a huge role in contest prep, and really what you're intaking, how much you're intaking, majorly impacts the way that your physique is going to look. And when you get off a contest prep, whether you're doing the bro thing or the flexible dieting, it really doesn't matter. You're not prepping anymore. And so I want to talk about what it looks like to build up your calories again, what it looks like to continually make progress and build up into a surplus if you're properly wanting to get into a building phase, and how I'm approaching it, and being able to have discipline throughout the course of a building phase. It's not just about eating everything in sight just to get bigger. It's about supporting what you're wanting to do for the long haul. What's your goals? And so I want to take some time to really discuss some strategies that help out with nutrition, transitioning off of prep, and continually building up your calories so that you are able to make some progress in the building phase. The next thing is about training, basically workouts. When you're in a contest prep, the longer that you're in a contest prep, you may lose some strength gains, as your calories are in a huge deficit from your maintenance, and it's going to be really hard to, push a lot of weight during your prep. And basically you want to maintain as much lean muscle mass throughout the course of the prep while losing body fat. In the building phase, you're going to probably, you're going to be able to push more weight because the calories are higher. You're not going to be doing as much cardio, if at all, things of that sort. And really, what kind of training style, or what are your personal goals, or what is your focus for the training? And so I'm gonna kind of talk about how I'm approaching it personally, and hopefully give you guys some overview of what you could possibly do, just as a general guideline. And then the other thing is just goals in general. Like I said in the beginning of the video, is that when a contest prep, you have a goal in mind. You want to step on stage, you want to be shredded, you want to be huge on that stage, and you want to look your best. When you're in your building phase, there are certain things that may help with continual progress, and that's how are you going to be able to measure your progress? How are you going to hold yourself accountable? How are you going to keep that focus for however long your building phase is? And so goal setting, I definitely want to talk about that, and really what you personally want to focus on, improve on, measure while you're not prepping for a show. And I think that's going to tie everything together as far as what you're looking to do. You're almost going to have some structure again, because you have a lot of structure during a contest prep, and some people just don't have as much structure in a building phase because there's no set guidelines, for the most part. So that's just some of the topics that I'm going to be covering. Please, definitely leave some comments below, some questions, and I can address them in my video series. I can address them with just replying to them. But if there's a lot of comments, a lot of suggestions, a lot of questions, I'll just even do a video on answering those and just some of my thoughts around it. I'm not an expert. I'm not somebody that is specially trained or in that aspect, but I feel like this is a huge topic that people can benefit from, especially talking to a few athletes from this past show and what they're experiencing. And I definitely can relate from when I started 4 years ago, and or even back in 2009 when I did a logo show. But honestly, if there's anything that I can do or any questions that you have for me, please leave them in the comments below. But I just wanted to do a quick intro of what this video series is going to entail. Other than that, thanks for watching and thanks for your support. All right, bye-bye.